Love Radio with DJ Spinmore and Treasure D.
We're back for another episode of Talking for Togetherness. So, well, let me just start off. How you feeling today, Mr. DJ Spinmore? Movie and great. Yeah, so let me talk about that because I know our last episode was supposed to be love language, which I was excited about talking about, but technical difficulties have, put us on a temporary hiatus. So we was down for a minute, but we're back. We had to take a new angle to things, and so we're joining the lovely world of Zoom. So from now on, the benefit is that for those who've asked, like, oh, I want to know when you're wrong, what's the link? We no longer have to just send out a link on the day of. We have a consistent Zoom link. So anytime we're on and you want to join in, you could just hit the Zoom link. I don't know if Mr. Spinmore is going to put it up during the session or if he'll put it up at the end, the link, but yeah. Oh, okay. So like I said, even if worst comes to worst, we put it on YouTube. So again, you got to check us out on YouTube, and it'll be there. So for future, for future shows. So I don't want to get into the love language because that is definitely a topic. There was a few people that, had some input into that. So I definitely want to have them involved. And this is just like, a check-in to let everybody know where we've been, what's going on. And then we didn't stop. We're doing something different, but we back. But I did want to get into real quick and brief today, the agenda. And I say the agenda, it is because it's like this unspoken agenda that's being pushed on us in that, it's that unspoken language. Everybody act like they don't know that it's happening, and it's happening. I was listening to it. What kind of triggered me more so to listen to it, it was music related. Of course, anything music related is always something that triggers my mind that kind of goes everywhere else. I was listening to Drink Champs with what was that? Drez from Black Sheep and Chi Ali. Great interviews, another, something to check out. Shout out to Drink Champs. And Drink Champs is on the wave that I'm on. I'm old school. And I believe in old school morals, rules, standards, and while I indulge and I know about the new school and I'm cool with the millennials and all of that, I'm not trying to be them. I don't want to be them. And I think that there's a lane for us old schools that we need to keep, going. But as I'm listening to one of the topics that he was talking about like likes. He was, expressing how if likes wasn't on these, music, and I'll say on anything, how it persuades people to look. And it just made me think of the internet as a whole, like in just media, television, everything. This is the target area of pushing the agenda. Social media, television, all of that is that these thoughts and things to get into your unconscious mind and make us move in a certain way. And I think we go about it blindly and we don't give it a second thought. Because one of the things, like he was saying, if there was no likes, like how would a person now, see or hear different things because they're not going based off of likes, they're going based off of interest, maybe the topic, and just kind of get into what they like. But when we see these likes on a certain thing, we're into following the bandwagon. So we'll find, 5 million people are listening to this or looking at that. Then I want to look at this and listen to it to be in the loop. You may not even like it, but you find yourself just following. And that's, you're pushing on and adapting on beliefs and way of life that doesn't, that is not what you come from. And while I think that, of course, things need to change over time. But to me, there's a lot of core solid values that we were taught, that old school that kind of needs to be looked at again. That should be implemented. Even with like it's a touchy subject, but like we're losing everything. We're losing freedom of speech. Even as I, talk about the topic, it's like, okay, I got to be careful of what I'm saying and not to step on toes or not to say something that's judgmental or biased. And it's like, no, some things is like, I believe there's a time and a place for everything. Like even with children, this whole new wave of, including everyone. I'm gonna try to use the proper terms, and I think it's important to include everyone. But when you make every single thing about including everyone, it's a stronger message that you're trying to push. And I just think that like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. I look at, with this whole thing of children choosing their gender, choosing your lifestyle is something different than choosing your gender. Choose the fluence, and then the whole, what are you choosing? Like, are we talking sexuality, or are we talking just life? And why do we have parents to make us have to teach us certain things and help us develop certain decisions and look at the pros and the cons and the things? And it's just, like I said, I don't want to get deep into it, but like I said, there's a big agenda being pushed. And I think that it's important that we be mindful that we losing out on our individuality and following what's current, what's hit. We talk about, the kids and how do we reach them. That's a constant topic that I see on the podcast. It's out of control, and how do we reach out to them? And I've said it before and I say it again. It starts in the home. It starts with structure. It starts with what you teach your children. We say that the family unit is no longer there. Well, who destroyed it? Everybody say, oh, after grandma died and that was the end of it. Again, what did grandma do it for the last 40, 50 years for? To teach you to do it, right? That's like tradition to be passed on. So you can't say, oh, well, cousins, they treat friends better than family. And it's like, well, what are you being taught? And then here go the hypocrisy of us all, that you don't teach your family to be a family. You don't make the special time to keep the family strength going. But then you say, oh, but they're choosing people outside first. And it's like, well, that's who they're developing bonds with. That's who they're spending time with. How would your child know to do these certain things? How did your child know? When we grew up, it was a village. Everybody, Miss Brown, Boss Mom's gonna check me. My mom, we knew these things. It was no ifs, ands, or buts. Now it's like, oh, don't tell my child anything. You who are you? Or, oh, let me know if this one says anything. That's an adult. You don't let me know anything. And so it's the whole foundation that we're putting into these children. The whole decision making. What decisions do kids make? How are you putting weight on a child? Like the purpose of a parent is to help them make decisions, to know that they're not going to make decisions. You won't let them make a decision. Let them make a life-changing decision, but you won't let them decide to choose them light up skippy sneakers that they like. Oh no, you can't wear those. You got to get the Jordans, or you're not going to embarrass me. But those decisions that kids make, you don't allow them to. But then they can do something so life-changing. Again, I'm not saying it's not a phase, or it might be for life. But what I'm saying is, again, I know for a fact, it's things that I did as a kid I would never do again. If I knew at an older age, it would never happen, period. Because again, I'm in a child mind. So what interests me as a child, what motivates me as a child, what makes me happy as a child is childish. So I don't want to make life, that was what my parents did, so that I don't make lifelong decisions or mistakes. Although I have done it, stepped outside, and there are consequences for it. But again, in our time, we didn't have this social media. That's my thing. It's like, it's it's like a tracker following you. So things you do as a kid and you decide to do something different as an adult, you can't leave that in childhood because now somebody got a video, somebody got a picture, somebody got some information to bring up that can destroy your whole adulthood based on childhood decisions. So again, it's a very thin line, and I'm trying to, tread it very lightly because it's just an overall thought process that I want people to think of. Again, I'm not going against any particular choice or lifestyle or something that you may not even be able to do anything about. But I'm also saying that as a child, lifelong decisions shouldn't be made by children. And like I said, I see it becoming a pattern. It's like everybody. I looked at Jeezy and he had a child, and he's like, "Oh, we don't have a gender for it. We're gonna let the child decide." Like, huh? There's something on it. Like, again, what they want to do with their life, I'm gonna let my child. I'm gonna be open to anything. Clear, cool, understanding. But it's like the extremity that we're going to, and at the end of the day, you got to deal with some kind of facts. And when you think of life and existence, everybody couldn't be one way, or we wouldn't all be here. So again, there's need for everything, and I just, like I said, it's being pushed. And for me myself, I just feel like I'm not going to be forced not to have a voice. That's something I'm one of those people that's dedicated to the old school rules and try, whether it works out or not, to try to push the family unit and things of that nature for as far as what I was taught and my ancestors. And I know that we fought for a voice. And so while I understand not being disrespectful and being mindful of others and the hardships and everything that people have experienced, I understand as a Black woman the hardships that we have experienced as well, that our Black men have experienced, and no one has experienced the atrocities that they have, period. So with that being said, they fought for this voice. And so I'm not going to get to a point in life where I'm going to let someone strip me of my voice. Now, like I said, being respectful and mindful at the same time, so be it. But when you tell people and you're like, oh, no, you can't say anybody. Listen, that's unfair. And that's a right. We put ourselves to be stripped of rights that we fought for. So some things we got to fight back on and be mindful of, again, with caring, concern, and open-mindedness. But don't tell me what I can't say, or a particular, this is voodoo, you can't say this about it, like, just don't cover it. That's not fair. That's not fair. We're all allowed to have an opinion. And again, no one should be bullied. No one should be insulted about who they are. But then I also know at the same time, we all say things. We all are bullied in some point. I'm fat. I've been called fat a million times by all kinds of people. And you don't hear the outrage. Don't call people fat. Don't call people fat. There's ugly people. They get called ugly. Like there's names, there's hurtful insults that's done across the board daily to everyone. And that passion is not there for just general meanness. There's a passion for a particular population, and that's not cool. That's just not cool to me. And so again, I just think we as people, my thought is always, again, we're hypocrites, and we really need to check ourselves. And I always thought I could be somebody, I want to change the world. I don't need to be the president, but I want to change the world. I want to get us united. And I've come to think that it's not possible in my time. It's not. But at the same time, I want to push for those who have those old school values and rules and who know how to modernize it a little bit with discretion, but kind of still keeping that foundation. I want to be an advocate for that area, for those few people, for us groups. Like you have different groups, different shows, different things that push towards that. But for me, I feel in my the opportunity of having this free forum where we're able to say and express. I'm stuck on the old school ways, the old school principles. You know, that's what I'm looking to push. I'm looking to push, you know, thoughtfulness, but also reality and factualness. Because I think that there's a super agenda to tear us down, to put everyone, every population, every person group above the African American family. And even though we have movements like Black Lives Matter and all of these things that have a surface name, when you get to going past the surface name and you get to reading and researching, it's not a bad agenda, but it's not an agenda for Black lives. That strictly, that's not what it is. And I feel like every other mission in the world is just going above us, and we don't see how we never made it out the barrel. We didn't. But it's like every mission is putting a little bit on top and keeping us down. Every other mission is becoming higher than ours. And I think that we need to really pay more attention to that and be more active in us, in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our relationships. That was something else that Drez was talking about that really inspired me. He said how him and the large professor went through a whole like relationship where they had beef, and he was trying to get at him, and then decided, well, maybe I shouldn't, and then come to find out, like he said, he looked in, he had pictures of them as kids playing. How many of us have, like, and it goes back that far, and I look at like friendships, relationships, like that's where I come with. Yeah, like I couldn't imagine, where do we get to a point where the most I could see is like, oh, I don't speak to you anymore. Or, oh, we might get in a tussle. But where does it get so lost that, right, y'all got, your parents got pictures of y'all playing together as kids, and you hate each other and you willing to kill each other, and not knowing that your mother's gonna cry over this kid because your mother done had watched this kid more than you. And I know I can say that. Like, it's like I had a daughter, but I had every kid else that was around her that I look like. I don't want to see anything happen to them. That's why I push anything they do. I try to support anyway, because it's like, yeah, where's that connection? How is it that we walk by now? It's like, oh, I don't fuck with that little girl, or this. And it's like, huh? We don't look at each other like, yo, he coming from the same struggle I'm coming from. Oh, bro could be having a bad day today. We automatically look to each other as an enemy. And what could we do? We don't look to each other as like, yo, we in the same struggle, bro. You got a mean face. I could imagine. What your mean face about? Because I know we all going through the same problems. We will attack each other so fast. But we, when it comes to others, we humble. And it's like we are getting lost into the point where I see parents, and I see some kids, and it's like, hold on. Oh, how do y'all kids argue? Where's your parents at? Because this might need your mother to get involved. Or your like, how do you turn a blind eye to some of this stuff? It's like we don't look at each other as family anymore. It doesn't matter. We could have been growing up next door to each other for our whole lives, and it's like you could be a stranger to me tomorrow. That the history and the memories don't mean anything. And that's like horrible. Like I said, I can get upset with people I've grown up, but I can't, like, it's like, no, I know you're too long. Like I said, I just don't deal with you. But I wouldn't want to see you die. I wouldn't want to see, it's like, we developing a real bitter, cold place in our heart that we don't see. We let our family disperse. Like we'll take care of someone else's kid, but you'll have your own kids somewhere else, or your grandkids somewhere else. And then it's like, what do you do? Like, we're losing ourselves trying to fit into today's time. Well, this is the wave. I look at men, it's like, oh, we don't want the masculine man anymore. Every woman wants to be independent. Like, I want to be the bag, I want to be the lead. I don't need no man. And but you need them, whether whatever it's for, somewhere down the line, but you need them. And then you complain about them. But what are we doing to empower them? Like, it's just it's a whole. Where's the village? There's no more village. There's no village. There's no. I look at people that'll say, even with my own child growing up, if I tell you don't bother my child or she can't do certain things, right? She's a child, and the child want to do certain things that they want to do. They don't want to listen to my rules. They can't see the 20, 30 years ahead that I can see and the consequences. But I've had it where it's like, I'm gonna stand on what I said for my rules for my house, and I've been ridiculed, about my methods. And it's like, okay, but you ain't saying nothing about the circumstances that's causing the methods to be used. I don't know. There's no village there. Your kids could be out here. It's like, I feel like sometimes it's like they want to see your kid feel so that you can't say anything about their kid. That's how I feel it. It's a time like we're rooting for the kids to do better work so that my kid is not doing worse. Listen, my kid did worse than other kids at times and better than other kids at times, and she still won't do it. Like, that's just life. The kids should not be in a competition. They're not in a competition, but they're not taught to love each other. They're not taught to respect adults anymore. It's like, respect who I tell you to respect. There's no respect that person just because they're an adult. They've been through life experiences. They're older than you. And I want you to be an example of my upbringing skill to show that I raise a child with respect. It's not that. Kids have to respect who I tell you to respect. Now, that's it. So, I don't like her. The kids know who you don't like. They tell you, like I said, I've had situations I didn't like. People wasn't speaking to me. I dare my daughter not to speak to them. You don't even know what's going on with me and them and my feelings, because that, as long as they respect you and you have a duty to respect them, that's that. But it's different now. Very, very different now. And like I said, I think that we just don't pay attention. We are so caught up in the social media world, the stars, lifestyle, and methods of doing things. We want to do things how they do. We don't have their money, first of all. So we can't make things go away. We can't do all the other little things to block them off and things to boost their self-esteem. So when you're trying to make your child, your regular child, live a rich person's life following, what are you teaching them? When you're doing all of these things for these children and you're not showing them, how do I acquire this? How school, how do I get an education? How do I make this money? Whether it's YouTube, whether it's this, that structure is just so far gone. It is so many people. I see it time after time. This right here, this is a school, a babysitter, the tablet is everything all in one. That's an all in one. Period. All in one. What you do? Oh, you got homework to do? Go on there. You need help? You don't understand math? Go on there. Oh, you want to watch a movie? Go on there. Oh, you need somebody to talk to? Go on there. Like, that is an all in one. And to the point where some are not even looking at what they're looking at. See, what videos are you watching? I wonder how many people really just go through that database. Let me click through what you was watching. What's the tag? These kids got codes that their parents can't have. What you mean? Who paying for that? Oh, she don't want to give me the code. She could have a code in case it get lost or whatever the case. But technically, I don't need the code because I don't want you open it up now. That's what I need you to do. Open it now. So you know I ain't got the code. Open it now. Let me see what's going on. What do you have to hide? You are a child. But they don't do that. They don't do that. But then we so these kids are out here, they're dating older people and this one again, but it's not a problem until it's a star. It's not a problem. But once a celebrity involved, oh, it's so wrong, it's so this, it's so that, it's so. Every TV show, every cartoon. Why the cartoons got to push any kind of agenda at this point? It's a cartoon. We was never looking for as far as, like, I never knew certain people supposedly be in a relationship or whatever the case may be because it was a cartoon. So we didn't have to deal with that. So we wasn't even looking for it on that level. What are you trying to put in these children's mind at such an early age? Sexuality? Because that's what this whole, like, the world is turning into this big sexual everything. What are you talking about? I don't care if you're a little girl, you want to dress like a boy. Ain't nothing wrong with it. What we called them when we was growing up? Tomboys? That's what we called them. It doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with that. You had little boys, you had boys that, we might have called them gothic or whatever the other title we have for them. But because again, what are we talking about? Gender or sexuality? And this is not a discussion sexuality is not a discussion that should be had with children. They shouldn't be doing it. What do you like? Oh, you like, what is it? Oh, you like these clothes? Oh, you can wear those clothes. What are you talking about? What exactly, what's the whole, So again, I just say I watch it because, even television, I don't watch it much. I go by, somebody tell me a show is really good. I usually try to catch it and just watch the whole season and on a boring day. But I don't watch it, but I'm just like, every show at this point is like, Jesus Christ. What's going on? The music, like I said, I love it all. I love the drill. I'm open. I love some gangster, whatever. But I love some food for thought too. But we won't push that food for thought, those positive. I happen to be surprised. There were so many older rappers. I just got introduced. A friend of mine, hey, the MCing is still there. Lyrical skill is still out. It's a whole underground. Oh, y'all still already know. Like, yeah, I would prefer to listen to real rap lyrics in mixture with, with a mixture. Yeah, like with a mixture. I would love that. I didn't know, but it's like, we just, all this new stuff, this new way of thinking, this new live, this new, don't say this, apologies, and like, come on. We destroying people over shows. We coming, and it's always us. Travis Scott. You're gonna take him down. I don't even know him to this day. I said it before, I'm say it again. I don't know him, but I know about rock concerts. I know about all the fainting and the dying and the deaths and the drugs and the OD. I know about all of that. No one has come for him. Kanye, I know he's different, he's weird, he's got his own little thing. That's I say part of your problem is for crossing over to the side or whatever. I'm being real, but again, we want to kid. We are quick to take ours down. We can't say bro man might have some problems since his mother died, because that's when he became different. That might hit him harder. We can't never find an excuse. Oh, R. Kelly, he did that. We can't understand that this is trafficking and only one man is going to jail. But he ain't never picked up nobody. We can't understand that they mother and father. man there. We took them backstage years after videos and stuff, but we can advocate. But at the same time, we got these ones that adopt the kids at 13, marry him. We got Elvis Presley, who's still the number one person. So no one even mentions it. We don't talk, but they have gotten us conditioned to the point that we will tear each other down. We will keep on. We will kill each other. We go on these killing sprees. We shooting up everybody, but it's us. It's us. They against us, and we against us. And then we make ourselves look like we are animals that we need to be treated like. We've got to see the bigger picture. We've got to. Every day is something. Like I said, we look at it and it's like, I love this social media. I do. It's like a gift and a curse. I love it. I love the opportunity to get on again. Like I said, some people is doing, oh, you got to do this. You got to make 50 videos. You got to do this one, that one, if you want to get some money. No, I listen, I'm never going to say, oh, if you wanted to pay me for doing what we doing, how we want to do it, oh, cool. But the whole purpose is that since everybody else can get on this forum and do it, I love the opportunity to counteract, to try to get somebody else to think outside of the box, outside of the system. So while you got this one, maybe one or two people fall past this video and say, oh, you're right, let me think about it. Oh, I might check myself, or maybe I, whatever the case may be. So I love the opportunity to do that. So I say it is a lot of information I learned on the internet that I never learned in college, elementary, no school. So it is a beauty. There's a beauty in this. But there's also a downside in it. When you keep on seeing the same thing unconsciously, it sinks in. It sinks in. And if we don't have enough people pushing food in at this point, if we got all those few little old heads that's now dying off, yeah, they might have survived the streets, but they're dying off from cancer, diabetes, or whatever. If we get all of them out here and we don't have nobody pushing it to last, then that's the total end of it. So the few of us that's still here in these moments that we gotta say, hey, wait, let me kind of push out what grandma taught me, or let me show what raising a village is. Let me get involved for the 1, 2, anyone that help each one teach one. That's how I see it. I think, like I said, it's important for us to pay attention. I want us to pay attention. I want us I want to steal his words. We got to start looking at each other different. Looking at that man like how we used to look at power, people, my sister, my black sister, like we just see it. Like, I don't look at you as an enemy first. I don't care which way you're looking at me. I'm looking at you like, I know your struggle. Today's a bad day. Instead of what you looking at? No. And I've been one of those. What you looking at? But now I'm trying to be like, no, well, maybe, I try to see in anything. I've got accused of that. Just like, oh, you devil advocate for anything. Yeah, because I want us to, it's easy for you to jump on the negative. It's easy to see a look that looked wrong, a comment that was made wrong. It's hard to say they just like me and they having a bad day. And I do this too. Sometimes I get the wrong person, the wrong attitude, or I just walk around stink, or whatever the case may be, and try to be more understanding. So like, that's my target for today. I just wanted to drop in, to say where we've been, that we'll be back on, the regular topic. But I did want to just kind of, while I'm here, kind of give some of the things that's been on my brain. Like I said, I look, I read, I listen all the time to the different things that's going on. And I try to stay abreast. I try to stay hip, so I know what's going on. And again, I'm not against anything. I'm open. I don't try to, I hope not to, and my intention is not to offend anyone. And I'm not judging anyone to the capacity of insult. But I am judging to the point to say, hey, we don't judge ourselves. And we need to start judging ourselves, because we judge everyone else, all of us. Again, we are all hypocrites. We judge others quickly and easily, and we don't judge ourselves. And I think that we got to start putting ourselves on the chopping block and being more accountable for what's going on in the world and what part we play in it, either through actual teachings or lack of teaching, both ways. So that's kind of what I just want to jump in to say. Mr. Spinmore, you got something you got something you want to tell the people? We still trying to get to the music, right? To the real deal, right? Because again, this was our warm up. This is our trial, again, just to stimulate some minds and some thoughts. But the whole goal of a podcast and the whole radio station, We the Plug Radio, which again is a online 24-hour a day radio station. So let me just say that the goal was music directed, but we yeah, you know we almost there. We almost there. We almost there. We need some girls out here because I've been looking and I'm like, I love the drill. I definitely love this movement. She got to do the videos, but with that lyrics, I'm seeing these chicks is kind of coming out lyrically. They coming for something. So yeah, so yeah. Yeah, for me, it's been a long time since Lady London, I'm feeling you. Yeah, but it's definitely, yeah, Brooke is yours. Yeah, y'all, right. Lyrics. I don't like I said, I'm cool with the other stuff, but I need some. Hmm. Hmm. And that was something else he spoke about, which was so real because you have these artists now, and it's like, okay, you knew, and y'all get in the bag, and y'all you're wiser about it, but if it wasn't for those old school rappers who didn't get the bag, who did break down the doors, you would not be getting the bag. And to say, like, because they're old school or whatever, they're no good, or they're not talented, it's like, nah. Nah. This, just because you get old don't mean that your craft is gone. Like you said, sometimes you become a master at it. You've been doing it so long. And there's a I would say like a small disrespect for the old school and the pioneers to this thing. And it's like, no, it should be love for everybody because each person has a connection to the last person. So, again, that goes into that whole respect thing of going and what you taught and how what you know. If you respect the culture, you know the culture. Period. You know it. And so you gotta include the old school. So yeah, that's the goal. But we gonna get there now. We keep on. We keep tiptoeing. We huh? The mic not working. They don't hear you. Oh, that's not good. So we had already. This was the whole up in the first place. While we've been on technical difficulty. We still here, but see, I don't got nothing to do with this. That's that guy. Yeah, we can't hear the button. And he don't say too much. So when I get him to talk, I want him to be heard. Little do he know, y'all gonna hear him on the show. So yeah, and that's the reason again. That's why we haven't been on because we've been having technical. So he trying to tell y'all he don't know what's going on with the mute with his mic right now. For those of you who said you can't hear him, and that is the problem. That was why we haven't been on. And that we thought we came up. We thought we came up. He's the tech. I don't know nothing. So we thought we had a new plan, but apparently the plan ain't working out right. So what happened? So let's say we here and y'all saying y'all don't hear. Let's see if we can get this fixed. At least so when it's time to talk about those love language, because we got to talk about the love language. Are you back? Yeah, we want to get this fixed. So sometimes too much is it's no good. So what he's saying, just in case you can't hear him, he's saying he see it moving on his end, and so he thought everybody could hear him, but apparently they can't. And so yeah, we still working on it. And I'm just hoping that because again, I'm not the technician, so I don't know who's writing and saying they can't hear him or anything. But I'm hoping that the person that said oh, can y'all hear him now? Can you hear me? He said it's moving over there, but we need it moving on. We need it moving in the mic. That's I hear you. Ask me technical questions. Don't ask me technical questions. I don't know. I hear you. I hear you because you linked me in there to set up the show. Oh my gosh. So I thought love language was going to be recorded this week, Friday, but I don't know. Hopefully Friday we might be. Oh gosh. But thank you all for who have listening, joined in. Of course, as always, go subscribe. I just kind of wanted to come on and give a heads up about where we've been. Because like I said, I got a lot of feedback on that love language. And I definitely want to get to that love language because it's important. I thought I was in love and I had a language and then we oh, we gonna get it on tonight. Because we can always come back. This is the freedom of the internet. We can do it. We can do it. All right. So thank y'all for joining in. For those who have joined in, for those who will join in, already hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to us, and we might be back tonight. It's always something to talk about life every day.
You are now